My name is Nicholas Pinto. I'm a photographer. I teach for Leica Academy. I work in street and photojournalism. Well, I got involved in the Leica Society 2 years ago. I was teaching a Leica Academy workshop in Bellevue, and I met Gary, the president, and him and I immediately hit it off. He was part of the workshop, and he heard my talk, and he was interested in figuring out ways to get a different perspective into the Leica Historical Society. Gary is great, and I think what Leica is doing, and Leica Historical Society in general, is exciting because there's a lot of history, and there's a lot of history in photography. There's a lot of history with these cameras. There's a lot of history connected to it all, and the more you can, connect to that history, the better photographer you'll be, and the better overall student of photography you will be. Getting into the right mindset is important because it's something that can be overlooked. A lot of photographers get caught up in the gear or the afterthought of while they're shooting. And once you are shooting, it's a little too late to think about the things that you want to think about. You're more in a reactive state. When you think about what you're doing beforehand, you have a little more planning, a little more comprehension of what you're doing, so you're a little more cerebral about it. And then you can go out into the street with intention, and then you're in a state of anticipation instead of reaction. So, photography is interesting because itself is a simple act. You're just photographing, you're hitting the shutter, you're out. As long as you understand the technical aspects of the camera, it's pretty straightforward. But there's all these other layers of life and things you're capturing and things that are, you're connected to. And when you have a mindset of what that is, your clarity and your understanding of that really helps deliver the final image. It's not a foolproof process. There's no, 5 tips to make you perfect. It doesn't work like that, but there are things you can do to, make it easier on yourself. Premeditate in a positive way. The fact is that you're thoughtful. You're sitting before you leave, whether it is the night before or you're going through your computer and you're looking at shots, and you're figuring out what exactly that you want to make. What do you want to create? Or what do you want to grab? And then by that thought process, you're able to start to, in your own mind, figure out, okay, I'm going to go shoot portraits tomorrow, or I'm going to go and take some street shots, and I'm looking for this type of scene. And in that way, now when you go outside or when you go out to the street or wherever you're going to be photographing, you are now mindful of what you're looking for. And that's something I learned from university, I think. Being given projects, being given assignments, having a teacher ask you what it is you're looking for, and then you go out there and find it. And then in that process of finding it, you kind of figure out, well, actually, I'm not looking for that. I'm actually looking for this, but I thought it was that. And then, so you kind of start to weed it out and get to that point of understanding. After you premeditated what you want to do, walking is a way that you can hit the streets and not necessarily take pressure off yourself. Because once you go outside, you got your camera, you expect yourself that I need to produce right now, I need to produce right now. And in reality, it doesn't work like that either. Because you're not alone, and the world is your subject in a lot of ways, especially in street photography. So you have to kind of let things come to you. And that's a hard thing to learn, it's a hard process because you want to be in control, you want to be able to make it happen. Obviously, you have the good light, you have the things that you already have prepared for. Your camera's set, you're ready to go. But at this point, I recommend just walking. And walking and keeping your camera ready, but just walking and start observing through your walks. And start to filter out your thoughts and get to the place where you feel like you're ready to start shooting. So eliminating the noise is exactly that. It means while you're now focused on what you're shooting from, the first tip, The second part of walking is now you're in process, so you're in action. You're moving through the street, you're getting your mind flowing. Now, if you're in that process and you get a text message or a call, you're going to get pulled right out of that. So eliminating the noise means take the time to turn those devices off if you can, at least silence them. Give yourself an opportunity to clear your mind through your walks, through your process, so you're not being pulled. Because to be an observer, you have to be in a place of observation, and you cannot do that when your mind is being pulled in 10 different places. You can do it, you can still take a photograph, but you're not going to do it in the same way. And once you get to that point, you can get in a place where you're pretty connected. And that's really what you're after in photography. Photography is the physical act of connecting with subjects or places, with the camera being that, interpretation device that grabs what you're, connecting to. So that's pretty much, you don't want to get pulled from that, while you're in that process, especially if it starts and you just did all this work to get to this place. The last thing you want is, oh, I forgot this meeting, or, oh, somebody was supposed to call me and, I got to take this call right now. You just don't want to go there because you got to start all over again. So stepping out of your comfort zone is tip 4. That is because it's one of the things you can do. Let's say you did get a message and you did get distracted. It's one of the practices and action step you can take that can bring you back. Nobody likes to be uncomfortable. There's a saying that I try to think about is get comfortable being uncomfortable, meaning put yourself in positions where you're not necessarily in your comfort zone. And in that, what happens in that is now all of a sudden you're out there, you're shooting, you're getting a little uncomfortable, you're asking a stranger for a picture, they might say no, they might say yes, you're getting down on the ground. But in that process, what's happening is now you're taking a step that another photographer might not take. You're putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation that another photographer might not be doing, and in that action of doing that, you're getting a picture that they may not get. And in that process, if it goes well and the stranger lights up and you make a nice connection, now you get filled and you get motivated, and now your creative mind is really flowing, and now the process is really going along and you're ready to keep going. To me, that's the one out of all the tips that I'm given, that's the one that I would go to the most, because that's the one that you can do at any time. When you get to that place of shooting that person that's interesting to you or in that scene, a lot of the times as a photographer, especially when you're first starting, you grab a shot and you think, I got it. And then you like get so excited that you got something, that you saw something, that you experienced something, that you just forget that you're still doing it, and you just want to go back and put it on Instagram or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you might be missing something more. You might actually be missing the bigger picture. And so for me, street photography is a doorway into storytelling. It's a doorway into larger or shorter stories, because when I meet someone interesting, I don't just like grab their picture and walk away. A lot of times I'll talk to them, I'll gather information, and if it's a story I'm interested in telling, I might explore telling that story. So it's a doorway from once you get to that place. So now that you're there, now that you're connected, now that you're sharing, now that you're creating, now you want to do something with that. And that's the natural evolution of street photography. It's actually, okay, I have this idea, I have this concept, I've gotten this ability to shoot it, now I want to push it forward. So I want to stick with this person, I want to see where they live, I want to, whatever it is. And that's pretty much why that step is last, because that's the one where, once you finally are able to get to step 5 constantly, and you're able to find these people that are interesting or these subjects, and you're able to really start getting enjoyment out of shooting, now it's like on you to figure out what you want to do with that. And that's where it gets interesting, because nobody can tell you how that is supposed to go. And that's where you find your voice, like who it is, what it is that you want to say. And that's something that nobody can teach you.